remains a bone of contention in Nepalese politics as the ceremonial head of the state has intensified political meetings amid the rising feud in the ruling Nepal Communist Party. Surprisingly, despite the growing criticism, the president's office seems undeterred by the negative public sentiments, while the president continues to ignore her constitutional limitations. Good morning, I'm Sarah Sapsanama, and these are the headlines of the hour. Students' factions affiliated to leaders Dahal and Nepal hold a strategic meet, growing call on President Bhandari not to breach constitutional guidelines. Foreign Minister Pradeep Gyawali says Nepal's relations with India improving after the visit of the Indian Foreign Secretary. Border issue to be raised seriously in the next meeting. Indian manufacturers to produce the COVID-19 vaccines on their own. Modi hints at the use of indigenously made, cheaper and effective vaccines. And women footballers to be guaranteed 14 weeks maternity leave under new rules approved by FIFA. Amid escalating dispute in the ruling Nepal Communist Party, student factions affiliated to Executive Chairman Pushpa Kamal Dahal and Senior Leader Madhav Kumar Nepal have held a joint strategic meet in the capital. The meet that also included Central Party members, experts say, came down heavily on Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. The gathering held at the capital's Thapathali campus included leaders Ashtalakshmi Shakya and Pampha Vusal, who alleged the Prime Minister of single-handedly running the party and the government. Saying that the Prime Minister has failed in his executive role, leader Shakya urged the Premier to step down from the dual post. Likewise, leader Bhusal, urging the Prime Minister not to opt for party split, said that Premier Oli should face the Secretariat meeting to look for a solution. The student leaders addressing the gathering also flayed the unilateral ways of the Prime Minister, comparing his ways with that of a dictator. President Bidya Devi Bhandari has intensified political meetings despite massive concern raised from all quarters, saying that the president breached her jurisdictions. With chairman duo of the ruling Nepal Communist Party at a position of standoff, President Bhandari has looked more than willing to bridge the gap between the two leaders.
With mounting dispute in the ruling party, Chairman and Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli called on President Bidya Devi Bhandari at Sheetal Niwas on Thursday morning. Prime Minister Oli reportedly sought the assistance from the President to convince the disgruntled faction in the party to opt for consensus. The same evening, President Bhandari called Executive Chairman Dahal for a meeting to pass on Prime Minister Oli's words of consensus. Sources have said that President Bhandari urged Dahal to support the Prime Minister, putting words of caution that the ongoing feud might derail the ruling party into dire consequences. Executive Chair Dahal, on his part, reminded the President of the possible steps that can be taken by the Prime Minister and requested the President to stop the Prime Minister from taking any unfortunate decision. Meanwhile, amid President Bhandari's increasing political meetings, the President has been charged of misusing the President's office while lending support to the Oli camp in the ruling party.
अझै पनि ओली गुटको नेताहरूदेखि लिएर त्योभन्दा फरक ढङ्गले विपक्षी त्यहाँ गुटका नेताहरूलाई पनि बोलाउने काम र तिनीहरूलाई थामथुम गर्ने हुन सक्छ कि लोभ लालच देखाउने हुन सक्छ कि या तिनीहरूलाई चाहिँ पेसिफाई या नरम गर्ने कामहरू गर्न सकिन्छ भन्ने ढङ्गले काम गरिरहेको त्यस्तो खालको रिपोर्ट आइरहेछ र जो त्यहाँ गएर आएका छन् उनीहरूले बोलेका कुराहरू सुन्दाखेरि अधिकांश के भन्छ भूमिका उनले पार्टी एकता बचाउने भन्दा पनि एउटा गुट विशेषलाई चाहिँ बचाउनको लागि उसको स्वार्थ हित रक्षार्थलाई चाहिँ काम गरिरहेको भन्ने खालको देखिन्छ.
The ongoing scenario has raised serious questions over the role of the President in the country. Unfortunately, the President's office doesn't seem deterred despite massive criticism levied on President Bhandari.
भेटघाटको गतिविधिहरू जुन वेमा जुन गतिमा भेटघाटका गतिविधिहरू देखिन्छन् त्यसले गर्दाखेरि राष्ट्रपतिले आफ्नो मर्यादा आफ्नो सीमा आफ्नो पद्धति आफ्नो संवैधानिक क्षेत्राधिकारको दायरा भित्र चाहिँ रहने विषयमा चाहिँ सायद चाहिँ अब कमै ध्यान दिनु भएको छ कि अथवा पुगेन कि चाहिँ अथवा त्यसको अलि उपेक्षा भयो कि त्यसको अलि अपहेलना त भएन भन्ने खालका प्रश्नहरू त उठ्ने गरेका चाहिँ छन्. त्यस कारणले गर्दाखेरि हामी जो कसैले पनि चाहिँ तपाईको राष्ट्रपतिलाई संवैधानिक मर्यादाभित्र केन्द्रित गर्ने कुरामा चाहिँ सबैले जोड दिनुपर्छ, सबैले पहल गर्नुपर्छ।
There is a serious call on the president to rise above the political interest and safeguard the dignity of the head of the state.
Minister for Foreign Affairs Pradeep Gewali has said that a hiatus seen in Nepal-India relations have finally come to an end. In the Parliament's International Relations Committee meeting held yesterday, Foreign Affairs Minister Gewali informed that the road for formal dialogue has opened with the visit of Indian Foreign Secretary Harshvardhan Shringla. Indian Foreign Secretary Shringla had arrived in Nepal for a two-day visit last week. Prior to this, Indian Chief of the Research and Analysis Wing, Samantha Goyal, had held a meeting with Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli. The diplomatic relations between the two nations had soured after India included Nepal's Kalapani area in its new political map a year ago. Minister Gewali further added that Nepal had presented the issue of border dispute in the bilateral talk held with Foreign Secretary as an official agenda, and the Indian side is positive on reaching conclusion through dialogue. Minister Gewali said that the Nepalese side will raise the border issue with significant priority in the next meeting between the foreign secretaries of the two countries. Minister Gewali has urged stakeholders not to misunderstand the meeting between the Prime Minister and the RAW Chief Goyal, saying that the latter was simply representing Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The coronavirus has continued its steady surge in the country as a total of 1,272 cases were confirmed yesterday, taking the infection tally in the country to 238,861. 16 individuals succumbed to the virus, taking the COVID-19 death toll to 1,567. 1,575 individuals were discharged in the past 24 hours, registering full recovery, taking the total number of recoveries in the country to 221,847. The number of active cases stands at 15,447. Now, it was the 30th Memorial Service Day of Sor Samrat Narayan Gopal, the country's singing maestro, yesterday. Late Narayan Gopal's contribution to Nepali music is always held in the highest esteem, as he had popularized Nepali songs when Bollywood music held its sway in the country. Many of Narayan Gopal's songs make it to the hit list of Nepali song lovers.
The Narayan Gopal Music Trust dedicated the day to the late maestro by hosting an orchestra by Annapurna Chambers that played all the melodious numbers sang by the late singer. The Memorial Service Day used to be celebrated with special programs in earlier years, but this time the celebrations have been subdued amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Singing maestro Narayan Gopal has sung about 500 patriotic and modern songs and has given voice to more than 12.5 Nepali movie songs. Majority of his songs are immortal and remains forever in the heart and mind of the countrymen. Born on 4th of October 1939 in Kilagal of Kathmandu, the singing maestro Narayan Gopal passed away on this day in 1990 at the age of 51. It's been 30 years since the great singer that was Narayan Gopal left for heavenly Adobe, leaving behind a trail of evergreen and mesmerizing Nepali songs.
In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the local residents in Surkhet what could be the reason behind Commission for the Investigation of Abuse of Authorities' disregard towards the involvement of political party leaders, parliamentarians and ministers in corruption, despite immediately taking action against lower-ranked officials involved in transactions of petty amount. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice. कहीँ पुलै नबनाएर चाहिँ फोटो मात्रै बनाएर पनि पैसा खाइदिएको हुन्छन् ती ठेकदारहरूले सरकारले किनेका हुन्छन् अनि कसरी चाहिँ अनि अख्तियारले चाहिँ ठुला मान्छेसँग छ
पहुँचमा भएको व्यक्तिहरूलाई चाहिँ भोलि छानबिनमा ल्याउँदा भोलि नेक्स्ट आफूलाई के हुन्छ त भन्ने कुरा उनीहरूले आफ्नो पनि सोचे हुन्छन्
ठुलाले आफूलाई पछि धोका दिन्छ कि हेर्दैन कि आफूलाई पछि कारबाही गर्छ कि भन्ने त्यही डरले गर्दाखेरि कारबाहीहरू सानालाई गर्छन् ठुलालाई गर्दैनन्
पार्टीको हैसियतभन्दा बाहिरका मान्छेलाई यस्तो रहेछ एक दुईजनालाई यसो कारबाही गरेर यस्तो देखाउने हो यो खालि उनीहरूको माथिल्लो गभर्नमेन्ट लेभलको नाटक हो
तल्लो तहका मान्छेहरूले देख्छन् मनमा गुम्साएर राखेका हुन्छन् कि तिनीहरूलाई थाहा हुन्छ सबै कुरा तर तिनीहरू बोल्न सक्दैनन् सबैभन्दा ठुलो मूल कारण भनेको बोल्न नसक्नु
सरकारदेखि नै अख्तियारलाई दबाब आएको कारणले नै ठुला भ्रष्टाचारीलाई समात्न नसकेर साना सानालाई मात्रै खोजी गर्ने कारण यही हो
जसले आफूले चाहिँ नुनको सोझो गर्न त्यहाँ पठाएको छ उनीहरूका विरुद्ध बोल्न सक्ने चाहिँ अख्तियारका कर्मचारीहरूमा चाहिँ त्यो सामर्थ्य छैन
Time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, why has Education Commission itself publicized its report submitted to the government? Your options are A, the government concealed it, B, pressure for implementation, and C, questions raised over the work. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for our special segment, Media Watch.
Chinese Defense Minister and State Councillor Wei Fenghe visited Nepal on Sunday. During his 8-hour visit to Nepal, Defense Minister Fenghe held high-profile meetings. During his meeting with Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli Sunday evening, Chinese Defense Minister Fenghe expressed his commitment to implement the past agreements reached between the two countries. Chinese Defense Minister Fenghe also assured that China's assistance to Nepal would continue. During the meeting, Defense Minister Fenghe also said China is always ready to assist in Nepal's economic development. In response, Premier Oli expressed his commitment that Nepal would not allow its territory to be used for anti-China activities. The Prime Minister's foreign advisor Ranjan Bhattrai informed that Premier Oli requested the northern neighbor to help Nepal in providing anti-COVID-19 vaccines once they are developed in China. Chinese Defense Minister Fenghe also paid a courtesy call on President Vidyadevi Bhandari. The Chinese Defense Minister, who landed in Kathmandu on Sunday morning, spent most of his time at the Nepal Army headquarters. The Chinese Defense Minister held bilateral talks with Chief of Army Staff of the Nepal Army, Purnachandra Thapa, at the Army headquarters. According to a high-ranking Nepal Army official, the meeting focused on the Chinese military assistance worth 2.5 billion rupees. Likewise, talks were also held on resuming joint army drills, which had remained disrupted amid the pandemic. Chinese Defense Minister Fenghe left for Dhaka, Bangladesh on Sunday evening after wrapping up his Nepal visit. The NEPSE index closed at record high 1,997.05 points on Monday after gaining 28.79 points. The life insurance, hydropower and trading groups attributed to the overall increase of the NEPSE. A total of 25.1 million units of shares of 198 companies worth 8.86 billion rupees were traded on Monday with over 83,500 transactions. Chandra Dhakal was elected as the Senior Vice President at the Federation of Nepalese Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Dhakal defeated Kishore Pradhan by a wide margin in the election of the umbrella organization of the Nepalese business sector. Meanwhile, Dinesh Shrestha from the Pradhan panel was elected as the Vice President of the District Municipal. Likewise, Ramchandra Shanghai from the Dhakal panel was elected Vice President in the Associate category, while Anjan Shrestha from the Pradhan panel was elected Vice President in the Commodities category. Newly elected Senior Vice President Chandra Dhakal has become the 20th President of FNCCI, succeeding Shekhar Golcha. As per the FNCCI statute, the Senior Vice President automatically gets elected as the President of FNCCI for the next term. This is Abhyuday Shrestha for Media Watch and Kantipur News Desk.
That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.